Mr. Coco presents Jeffrey Dahmer, a notorious killer and cannibal from Milwaukee. Cannibal, killer, and monster are just a few terms that have been used to describe Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, a man who came into the world in 1960 in the city of Milwaukee, United States. You might be familiar with his case due to the famous Netflix series that details the murders committed by Jeffrey, featuring Evan Peters in the role and directed by Ryan Murphy. But let's delve into the actual history of this killer who committed necrophilia and cannibalism against his victims, all of masculine gender. As a child, he showed clear signs of abandonment, as his parents did not give him enough affection and his hypochondriac and depressed mother attempted to take her own life. What really caught the attention of his parents was that from a very early age, the kid was interested in the sound made by the bones of lifeless animals, to the point that his father, astonished by his son's curiosity, taught him a technique for whitening and preserving bones. Young Jeffrey started to collect animal skeletons, dedicating himself to the meticulous task of dissecting the corpses with precision and care. What was once regarded as a harmless pastime gradually evolved into an activity that many considered to be in poor taste, as one of his friends shared that Jeffrey, on one occasion, had removed the head of a dog and stuck it on a pole to show off in the forest as a joke. As he entered puberty, Dahmer realized he was homosexual. Jeffrey was never attracted to women. Furthermore, he found that male mannequins resulted to be incredibly stimulating for him. Today we know that once caught, he confessed his first murder attempt was at 16 years old, when he decided to perform his plan of hiding behind some bushes to hit a runner he saw every day, with the intention of abuse of him once he was unconscious. Luckily, that day the runner decided to take a different route. He didn't commit his first murder until he was 20, making real his fantasy of picking up a 19-year-old from the roadside, with whom he went home to drink some beers. When the young man tried to leave, Dahmer struck him with a dumbbell and then strangled him. Then he sought to satisfy himself over the lifeless body and mutilated it to separate the bones from the flesh, later tasting a bit of it. In this way, he engaged in necrophilia, which is a paraphilia defined by a sexual attraction to dead bodies, as well as cannibalism, understanding it as the practice of consuming parts of one's own kind. As time passed, he went on to commit an additional 16 murders. In total, there were 17 victims, all young males, primarily of African descent, Native American, or mixed race. He often visited a bar of the gay community named Club 219, where he would encounter his victims. This bar decided to close forever its doors after the horrific crimes became known. A man named Tracy Edwards, who at that time was 31 years old, come very close to becoming Dahmer's 18th victim. But fortunately, he managed to escape alive from the apartment where he would have been drugged and mutilated. Thanks to him, the trial could take place, and serial killer Dahmer was sentenced to multiple life terms. Although he had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder, the court concluded that Dahmer was of sound mind. Tracy Edwards was very important in solving this case, but he could never recover from the psychological damage he suffered that night when he could have died. He served time for abusing a minor, drug offenses, and other crimes. He was last spotted in 2015, and today his location remains a mystery. Regarding the cannibal, he was serving his third year of his sentence when suddenly a cellmate named Christopher Scarver, who was serving a life sentence too, beat him to death with a steel weightlifting bar. The cannibal had apparently provoked this inmate's wrath. While the precise reason remains unclear, various theories indicate it may have been a racially motivated revenge, as the majority of his victims belonged to the black community. Additionally, Jeffrey boasted about receiving letters and cash from fans relishing his notoriety, while simultaneously professing his belief in God and even asking to be baptized while incarcerated. Additionally, another behavior that irritated Scarver was Jeffrey's mockery of fellow prisoners. He would take the food provided in prison and act as if it were human body parts. He used tomato sauce as if it were blood, consuming it in a grotesque manner. The prisoner stated, "God commanded me to do this." Thus, Jeffrey Jonah Dahmer passed away in the year of his death at 34 years old. Are you familiar with the story of this serial killer? Share your thoughts in the comments.